Have you ever wondered if the Bible holds more than just spiritual guidance and moral teachings? What if I told you that within its sacred pages, there exists a secret map, one that has been hidden in plain sight for centuries, waiting to be unlocked? A map not of geographical territories, but of prophecies and divine blueprints for life, business, and human history. These hidden prophecies, carefully woven into the scriptures, are not only guides for the soul but also keys to understanding the challenges we face in our modern world. For centuries, scholars, theologians, and mystics have tried to decode these secrets. Yet, despite their vast knowledge and devout study, the deeper meanings of these prophecies have remained elusive. Why? Because they were never meant to be understood at face value. These prophecies were designed to be discovered at the right moment, when humanity was ready to comprehend their significance. And perhaps, that moment is now. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast, uncharted land, where the terrain is both treacherous and full of promise. This land represents the mysteries of the Bible, and you are about to embark on a journey to uncover its hidden truths. Along the way, you'll encounter symbols, ancient texts, and parables, each offering a glimpse into a future that has already begun to unfold. But it won't be an easy journey. The map is not straightforward. It requires careful study, reflection, and most importantly, a willingness to see beyond the obvious. The most intriguing part of this journey is that these prophecies are not just confined to ancient events. They are alive and relevant today, offering guidance for how we navigate our lives and businesses in an increasingly complex world. From economic shifts to personal growth, from leadership to the art of managing crises, these ancient words hold the power to guide us if we learn how to read them correctly. The challenge is not just in discovering these prophecies but in understanding how to apply them in our daily lives. As we set out on this exploration, we will delve into specific examples from the Bible, unlocking the hidden messages within them. We will see how these prophecies have shaped history and how they continue to offer insight into the most pressing challenges of our time. But more than that, we will learn how to use these ancient teachings to change our lives, whether we are looking to succeed in business, find deeper meaning in our existence, or simply navigate the uncertainties of the world around us. Stay with me, for this journey is one that will reveal not just the secrets of the Bible, but the secrets of life itself. The answers we seek have been waiting for us all along, hidden in the pages of a book that has stood the test of time. And together, we will begin to unlock them. The hidden message in the book of Daniel. As we set foot on this path of discovery, our first stop takes us to one of the most mysterious books of the Bible, the book of Daniel. Often viewed as a collection of prophecies, the book of Daniel contains symbolic visions that have puzzled scholars and theologians for centuries. But within its words lies an extraordinary map, a roadmap that can guide us through some of the most turbulent and transformative events in human history. Daniel, a young man taken into captivity by the Babylonian Empire, becomes a servant in the royal court. However, he rises to prominence not through his strength or status, but because of his divine wisdom. He interprets dreams and visions that hold the key to the future of nations. In one of his most profound visions, Daniel is shown a series of beasts, each symbolizing an empire that will rise and fall throughout history. These beasts represent more than just earthly powers, they are part of a divine plan. A blueprint that will unfold over centuries, leading us to the present day. Let's focus on one specific vision that Daniel experiences. A vision of a great statue made of different materials. The head of the statue is made of gold, the chest and arms are of silver, the belly and thighs are made of bronze, and the legs of iron, with feet of a mixture of iron and clay. This statue is symbolic of 4 great empires that will dominate the world at different points in history. The gold represents the Babylonian Empire, the silver symbolizes the Medo-Persian Empire, the bronze refers to the Greek Empire, and the iron represents the Roman Empire. The feet, a mixture of iron and clay, symbolize a divided kingdom, an era of instability that we are living through today. The prophecy doesn't stop there. A stone, cut without human hands, strikes the statue, breaking it into pieces and turning it to dust. This stone represents the kingdom of God, which will ultimately overcome all earthly kingdoms. This is the central message of the book of Daniel, that no empire, no matter how powerful, can stand forever. All earthly powers will eventually fall, and God's kingdom will triumph. But what does this ancient prophecy mean for us today? How can we use this prophecy to guide our actions and decisions in the modern world, particularly in the realm of business and leadership? To understand this, we must first recognize the cycles of history that the prophecy points to. The empires represented by the statue, the Babylonians, Medo-Persians, Greeks, and Romans, each rose to power in their time. But they were eventually overcome by new forces. In the same way, we see that no business, no matter how successful, lasts forever without adapting to the changing tides of the market. The rise and fall of companies can be traced to the same principles that governed these ancient empires: arrogance, greed, lack of vision, and an unwillingness to adapt. This prophecy is a powerful lesson in humility. Just as empires rise and fall, so too can businesses. The message here is clear. No matter how powerful or wealthy we may become, we must always remember that there are forces beyond our control. It is not enough to simply build a strong empire. We must also build something that can withstand the storms of change. Just as the stone represents the eternal kingdom of God, we too must build our businesses on a foundation that is unwavering, on principles that will endure the test of time. So, how do we apply this ancient wisdom to our modern businesses? It starts with recognizing that our success is not guaranteed, and that we must constantly seek to improve and adapt. The golden age of our business may eventually fade, just as the Babylonian Empire did, but by building with wisdom, integrity, and a focus on sustainable growth, we can ensure that our businesses, like the stone that shattered the statue, can withstand the test of time. In the next part of our journey, we will dive deeper into another powerful prophecy from the book of Daniel, one that addresses the rise of leaders and the challenges they face. This prophecy offers profound insights into the nature of leadership and how to navigate the often treacherous waters of power and influence. But before we move on, let's take a moment to reflect on the lessons we've learned so far. The first lesson is clear: no empire lasts forever, and neither do businesses. The second lesson is just as important. We must build our businesses on a foundation of wisdom and adaptability. For it is these qualities that will help us survive and thrive in the long run. The third lesson, however, is perhaps the most important. We must recognize that there are greater forces at work in the world, forces that will shape our future whether we are ready or not. It is only by aligning ourselves with these forces, by understanding the prophecies that have been hidden in the Bible for centuries, that we can truly unlock the map that will guide us to success. As we continue to explore the prophecies of the Bible, we will see how they can illuminate the path ahead, showing us how to navigate the challenges of modern life and business. But the key to unlocking this map lies in understanding that the Bible is not just a book of religious teachings, it is a book of timeless wisdom, offering insights that transcend time and space. The vision of the four beasts and the kingdom of God. As we delve deeper into the map of hidden prophecies, we come upon another powerful vision from the book of Daniel, one that speaks of four great beasts, each representing an empire, and the eventual rise of an eternal kingdom that will overshadow them all. This vision, though filled with symbolism and mysticism, holds profound lessons that can guide us in understanding the dynamics of power, leadership, and survival in a rapidly changing world. In Daniel's vision, he sees four beasts rise out of the sea, each more terrifying than the last. The first beast is like a lion with eagle's wings, the second like a bear raised up on one side, the third like a leopard with four wings, and the fourth is a dreadful, terrifying creature with iron teeth and 10 horns. Each of these beasts represents a specific empire, and their characteristics give us insight into the nature of the world powers they symbolize. The first beast, the lion with eagle's wings, represents the Babylonian Empire. Babylon, in its prime, was a symbol of power and grandeur. But like the lion, it was eventually humbled. The eagle's wings suggest that this empire had a vast reach, stretching far beyond its borders, much like the influence and reach of the Babylonian Empire during its height. However, as the vision progresses, the wings are plucked off, symbolizing the downfall and loss of power. This is a powerful reminder that all empires, no matter how mighty they may seem, are vulnerable to decay and collapse. The second beast, the bear raised up on one side, represents the Medo-Persian Empire. The bear's unequal stance suggests an imbalance of power, much like the dual nature of the Medo-Persian Empire, which was made up of two peoples, Medes and Persians. This empire, while formidable, was marked by internal conflict and eventually succumbed to external pressures. Much like a bear struggling to maintain balance, the bear's ravenous appetite for flesh symbolizes the empire's insatiable greed for conquest and expansion. The third beast, the leopard with four wings, represents the Greek Empire, under the leadership of Alexander the Great. The leopard's swiftness and the four wings indicate the rapid expansion of Alexander's empire. In just a few short years, the Greek Empire conquered much of the known world, moving with incredible speed and precision. However, like the leopard, this empire was ultimately short-lived. After Alexander's death, the empire fractured, divided among his generals, and eventually faded into history. The fourth beast is the most terrifying of all, with iron teeth and 10 horns. This beast represents the Roman Empire, which dominated the known world for centuries. The iron teeth symbolize the empire's strength and unyielding power, while the 10 horns represent the 10 kings or rulers who would arise from it. This beast is the most enduring, and its reign over the known world lasted longer than any of the others. However, as the vision reveals, even this empire will eventually fall. The 10 horns symbolize a future time when the empire will be divided into smaller, weaker kingdoms, something that we can see in the fragmentation of the Roman Empire into multiple European states. But here's where the prophecy takes a significant turn. After the vision of these four terrifying beasts, Daniel sees something extraordinary. A new kingdom, represented by the Son of Man, comes down from heaven. This kingdom is different from all the others. It is eternal, unshakable, and will never be destroyed. The message is clear. While earthly powers may rise and fall, God's kingdom will endure forever. The message for today: the cycle of power and the rise of a new leadership. So, what can we learn from this vision of the four beasts and the eventual rise of God's kingdom? The key lesson here is that all earthly power is temporary. The great empires of the past, represented by the four beasts, rose to power because they were able to dominate and control vast territories. They relied on military might, economic strength, and political alliances to expand their influence. But each one eventually fell, just as all businesses, no matter how powerful, are vulnerable to the forces of time, change, and competition. In the business world, we can see similar cycles of power. Companies, like empires, rise to prominence by capitalizing on their resources, strengths, and market dominance. However, as we've seen time and time again, no company can remain at the top forever. Markets shift, consumer preferences change, and new competitors emerge. Just like the empires of the Bible, businesses that once seemed invincible can crumble under the weight of their own success or failure to adapt. This prophecy also speaks to the nature of leadership. The beasts of the vision represent the dominant powers of their time, but they are all ultimately replaced by something greater, the kingdom of God. What does this mean for leaders today? It means that true leadership is not about accumulating power or wealth for its own sake. True leadership is about serving others, building something that lasts, and understanding that no matter how successful we become, we are still part of a larger, divine plan. The Son of Man in the prophecy represents a new kind of leader, one who does not rely on force, manipulation, or greed. This leader builds a kingdom that is based on justice, peace, and truth. In the context of business, this points to the importance of ethical leadership, of leading with integrity, fairness, and a commitment to the well-being of others. Just as the eternal kingdom of God is built on principles that transcend time, So too should our businesses be built on values that endure beyond market trends and financial cycles. As business leaders, we must ask ourselves, are we building our companies like the beasts, powerful but ultimately temporary? Or are we building something that will endure? Something that reflects the eternal principles of fairness, justice, and service to others? The prophecy of the four beasts reminds us that power, in whatever form, is fleeting. What truly matters is building something that serves a higher purpose, something that will stand the test of time. Just as God's kingdom will. The role of adaptability and vision in business leadership. Another important lesson from this prophecy is the need for adaptability. The empires represented by the four beasts were all successful in their own right. But each one faced challenges that ultimately led to its downfall. The Babylonian Empire fell to the Medo-Persian Empire, which in turn fell to the Greeks, and the Romans eventually gave way to smaller kingdoms. This constant cycle of rise and fall highlights the importance of adaptability and leadership. In the business world, the most successful companies are those that are able to adapt to changing circumstances. Just as the empires of the Bible had to adjust to new forces and realities, businesses must be prepared to pivot in response to market changes, new technologies, or unexpected disruptions. Leaders who cling to outdated business models or fail to innovate risk being overtaken by more agile competitors. This is where vision becomes crucial. The most successful leaders are those who can see beyond the present moment and anticipate the future. They understand that change is inevitable and prepare their businesses for it. Whether it's embracing new technologies, exploring new markets, or developing new products, adaptability is key to long-term success. Like the stone that struck the statue in Daniel's earlier vision, businesses that are built on a solid foundation of vision and adaptability can weather the storms of change and emerge victorious in the end. The vision of the ram and the goat, overcoming obstacles in business and life. In our continuing journey through the hidden prophecies of the Bible, we come to another fascinating vision, also found in the book of Daniel. This prophecy is about a ram and a goat. Two powerful symbols that represent two major empires in history, the Medo-Persian Empire and the Greek Empire, and the conflict between them. But beyond this historical event, the prophecy carries deep lessons about overcoming obstacles, personal growth, and the importance of strategic thinking in leadership and business. In Daniel 8, the prophet sees a vision of a ram with two horns. The ram represents the Medo-Persian Empire, which is made up of two parts, the Medes and the Persians. The two horns of the ram symbolize the dual nature of the empire. The ram is described as pushing westward, northward, and southward, conquering all in its path. This imagery illustrates the expansion and dominance of the Medo-Persian Empire, which stretched across a vast territory, from the borders of India to the Mediterranean. However, in the vision, a goat appears from the west, moving swiftly with great speed and power. The goat, with a single large horn between its eyes, represents the Greek Empire under the leadership of Alexander the Great. The goat charges at the ram and destroys it, breaking its two horns and overpowering the Medo-Persian Empire. The vision is clear. The Greek Empire would eventually overtake the Medo-Persian Empire. Just as the Greeks, led by Alexander, conquered Persia in the 4th century BC, the prophecy then takes an unexpected turn. After the goat's victory, its large horn is broken, and four smaller horns emerge in its place. These four horns represent the division of the Greek Empire after Alexander's death. His empire was split into four parts, each ruled by one of his generals. This part of the vision speaks to the transient nature of power and the fragility of even the most dominant empires. Even the mighty Greek Empire, which rose so quickly under Alexander, would be fragmented after his untimely death. The role of strategic vision and overcoming obstacles in business. Now, let's consider how this prophecy can be applied to our modern lives and businesses. At its core, the story of the ram and the goat is about overcoming obstacles. The Medo-Persian Empire represents a dominant force that seems unbeatable at first. However, in the face of this powerful empire, a new force emerges, the Greek Empire. Symbolized by the swift goat. The goat's charge is fast, powerful, and direct, and it represents the power of strategy and speed in overcoming obstacles. In business, this can be understood as the need for strategic thinking and adaptability. The ram represents a traditional force, something established and powerful, perhaps even seemingly invincible. But the goat, representing the new and innovative, charges in with speed and agility, disrupting the established order. This highlights the importance of staying ahead of the competition, being quick to act when opportunities arise, and using strategy to overcome entrenched obstacles. The goat's victory over the ram teaches us that success in business is not always about strength or resources. Often, it is about timing, agility, and the ability to make bold, strategic moves when the moment is right. Just as Alexander the Great did not conquer the world through brute force alone, but through a combination of military genius, vision, and adaptability. Successful business leaders must be able to outmaneuver their competitors, anticipate challenges, and make swift decisions that lead to victory. Moreover, the prophecy of the four horns that appear after the goat's victory is a reminder that power is fleeting. Alexander's empire, once united under one powerful leader, quickly fractured into smaller parts after his death. This part of the prophecy warns us about the fragility of success and the importance of building sustainable, long-term strategies that outlive individual leaders or short-term successes. Even the greatest empires, businesses, or personal accomplishments can crumble without proper succession planning, stability, and a focus on enduring values. The importance of legacy and succession in business. The story of the ram and the goat also carries a profound lesson about legacy and succession. The division of the Greek Empire into four parts after Alexander's death shows us the critical importance of leadership transition and succession planning. When Alexander the Great died suddenly in 323 BC, his empire lacked a clear successor, and his generals fought among themselves for control. The empire fragmented, and its former glory was lost. This highlights the need for businesses and leaders to plan for the future and ensure that there is a strong, capable team in place to carry on their legacy. In modern business, this lesson is as relevant as ever. Many successful companies have faltered because their founders or leaders failed to plan for succession. Without a strong leadership pipeline, businesses are vulnerable to disruption and decline. This is why it's essential for leaders to mentor their successors, build strong teams, and create systems that will continue to function even after they are no longer at the helm. The importance of legacy extends beyond the individual leader. It's about creating a sustainable business model, one that is not reliant on any single person's vision but is built on a foundation of strong values, ethical principles, and a commitment to long-term success. Just as the Greek Empire eventually fell apart after Alexander's death, businesses that fail to build a legacy will find themselves vulnerable to fragmentation and decline. The role of innovation and risk-taking in business success. Finally, the vision of the goat's rapid charge and overwhelming victory over the ram teaches us about the importance of innovation and risk-taking in business. The goat's swift and decisive attack on the ram symbolizes the power of new ideas and bold actions. It shows that sometimes, the most powerful force in business is not just hard work or perseverance, but the ability to take risks and innovate. Innovation is the key to staying ahead in today's fast-paced business world. The goat did not defeat the ram by simply following the same old strategies. It brought something new to the table, a new way of thinking, a new approach to leadership, and a new strategy for conquest. In the same way, businesses that embrace innovation and are willing to take calculated risks are more likely to succeed than those that cling to outdated models and resist change. Innovation involves looking beyond the immediate challenges and finding new ways to solve problems. It requires a willingness to experiment, fail, and learn from mistakes. Businesses that fail to innovate risk being overtaken by competitors who are more agile, more creative, and more willing to take risks. The story of the goat and the ram serves as a powerful reminder that success often comes to those who dare to think differently and take bold steps toward change. Overcoming the fracturing of success, building a unified vision, As we reflect on the deeper meaning of the prophecy of the ram and the goat, we realize that it's not just about overcoming obstacles in the immediate term. It's also about creating a business that can endure over the long term. Weathering the challenges of time, change, and competition. The prophecy's final lesson, about the four horns emerging after the goat's victory, is a reminder that success can be fragile if it is not built on solid, sustainable foundations. In the world of business, this translates into the importance of unity and vision. It's not enough to simply conquer the competition in the short term. Leaders must create a unified, cohesive vision that will carry their business forward through changing times. This vision must be supported by a strong, resilient team and a culture that fosters innovation, adaptability, and long-term thinking. The fragmentation of Alexander's empire after his death serves as a stark warning to modern business leaders. If we fail to build a lasting, unified vision for our companies, they too may fragment into smaller, less effective parts. To prevent this, we must ensure that our businesses are built on solid principles, with a focus on sustainability, innovation, and leadership development. Only then can we avoid the fate of the Greek Empire and create something that will endure for generations to come. Having explored the first three prophecies, we now turn to one of the most vivid and dramatic visions in the book of Daniel, the vision of the four beasts. This prophecy is not only a prediction of future empires but also an exploration of how businesses and leaders must adapt to the rapidly changing environments around them. The four beasts, each representing a different empire, offer profound lessons on how to navigate power shifts, unexpected challenges, and the necessity of transformation in both business and life. In Daniel 7, the prophet has a dream about four great beasts coming up from the sea, each different from the other. The beasts represent four successive kingdoms that would arise, one after the other. These kingdoms would each have their own unique characteristics, strengths, and weaknesses, and they would shape the world in different ways. The vision of the four beasts highlights the cyclical nature of history, the rise and fall of empires, and the transformative journey that businesses must undertake to remain relevant in an ever-changing world. The four beasts, a symbol of power and change. The first beast is described as a lion with eagle's wings. It is a powerful and majestic creature, symbolizing the Babylonian Empire. The lion represents strength and dominance, while the eagle's wings suggest speed and far-reaching influence. This beast is a fitting representation of the Babylonians, who were known for their military power and extensive empire building. Under the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon was one of the most dominant empires of its time, stretching from the borders of Persia to Egypt. The lion with eagle's wings represents the early stages of dominance, where speed and power enabled the empire to expand rapidly. However, in the vision, the wings of the eagle are plucked, and the lion is made to stand on 2 feet like a man. This part of the vision speaks to the eventual decline of the Babylonian Empire. Despite its initial power, Babylon would eventually lose its strength and become vulnerable to external threats. The plucking of the eagle's wings symbolizes the loss of the ability to expand rapidly. And the transformation of the lion into a human form suggests a shift from raw power to a more vulnerable and humanized state. This is a powerful metaphor for the inevitable decline of any empire that fails to adapt and evolve. The second beast is described as a bear, raised up on one side, with 3 ribs in its mouth. This represents the Medo-Persian Empire, which came after Babylon. The bear is less graceful than the lion but more powerful and determined. It is raised on one side, which symbolizes the Persian dominance over the Medes. The 3 ribs in its mouth represent the 3 major conquests that the Medo-Persian Empire undertook: Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. The bear's actions are slower and more deliberate than the lion's, suggesting that the Medo-Persians built their empire through persistence and careful strategy. The third beast is described as a leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads. This is a representation of the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great. The leopard symbolizes speed and agility, while the 4 wings and 4 heads suggest the rapid spread of Greek influence across the known world. The four heads represent the division of the empire after Alexander's death. Just as the four generals who succeeded him each took control of a part of the empire. The speed with which Alexander conquered the known world is symbolized by the four wings. And the division of the empire after his death is represented by the four heads. This beast embodies the fleeting nature of power, showing that even the greatest conquests can unravel quickly if leadership is not unified and succession is not planned properly. The fourth beast is the most terrifying and mysterious of all. It is described as being dreadful and terrible, with iron teeth and 10 horns. This beast represents the Roman Empire, the final empire in the prophecy. The Roman Empire was characterized by its military might, ruthlessness, and ability to conquer and control vast territories. The 10 horns symbolize 10 kings or rulers, and the iron teeth represent the destructive power of Rome. Unlike the previous beasts, which represent kingdoms with distinct characteristics, this beast is a blend of all the previous empires. It is a combination of strength, speed, strategy, and ruthlessness, making it the most formidable of all. Adapting to change. Lessons for business leaders. What can we learn from the vision of the four beasts? And how can it be applied to modern business? The answer lies in the way each beast symbolizes a different stage in the life cycle of an empire, or, in our case, a business. The four beasts represent different stages of growth, power, decline, and transformation. They illustrate the fact that success in business is not linear. It is cyclical, and businesses must be prepared to navigate different phases, from rapid growth to dominance, from persistence and strategy to speed and agility, and ultimately to transformation and adaptation. 1. Dominance and expansion. The first beast, the lion with eagle's wings, represents the early stages of a business when it is expanding rapidly and establishing its dominance in the market. Just like Babylon, the business is full of power and potential, and its leaders are focused on growth and reaching new territories. This stage requires bold decisions, quick actions, and a clear vision of the future. However, as the vision of the lion teaches us, rapid growth can only last for so long. Businesses must be prepared for the inevitable slowdown and the challenges that come with maintaining dominance. 2. Persistence and strategy. The second beast, the bear, teaches us the importance of persistence and careful strategy. The Medo-Persian Empire did not expand as rapidly as Babylon, but it was able to maintain its power through methodical planning and relentless pursuit of its goals. Similarly, businesses that focus on steady growth, thoughtful decision-making, and long-term strategy are better positioned for sustained success. The bear's 3 ribs in its mouth remind us that success often comes through conquering smaller challenges one step at a time, rather than relying solely on brute force or speed. 3. Speed and agility. The third beast, the leopard, embodies the power of speed and agility. In business, this is the stage when a company has achieved a certain level of dominance but must continue to innovate and adapt to changing market conditions. Just like Alexander the Great's empire, businesses must be able to move quickly and respond to new opportunities and threats. Speed is essential in today's fast-paced business environment, where market conditions can shift overnight. However, the leopard's 4 heads remind us that quick success can also lead to fragmentation. If a company does not plan for succession or handle internal divisions carefully, it risks losing its coherence and unity. 4. Transformation and adaptability. The fourth beast, the Roman Empire, represents the final stage of a business's life cycle, transformation and adaptation. Rome was the most powerful empire, but it eventually had to adapt to changing circumstances and external threats. Similarly, businesses must learn how to transform themselves in response to changing technologies, market demands, and economic conditions. The Roman Empire's ability to integrate diverse cultures and ideas was key to its success. In modern business, this means embracing diversity, innovation, and new perspectives to stay relevant. The importance of leadership in times of change. One of the key lessons from the 4 beasts is the role of leadership in times of change. As empires rise and fall, It is the leaders who guide their people through periods of transformation. Just as each of the four beasts had a unique set of characteristics, businesses need leaders who are adaptable, visionary, and capable of steering their companies through turbulent times. The ability to pivot, embrace new technologies, and rethink traditional business models is critical for survival and success in the modern world. The four beasts remind us that success is not guaranteed, and no empire or business can last forever without continuous adaptation. In today's fast-changing world, businesses must be prepared to evolve, innovate, and transform in order to stay competitive. Leaders must be proactive in preparing for the future, even when things are going well, and they must be able to act quickly when challenges arise. Having journeyed through the dramatic visions of the four beasts, we now come to the final element of Daniel's prophecy, the vision of the everlasting kingdom of God. This vision holds profound implications for the future of mankind, but it also carries significant lessons for business leaders and entrepreneurs seeking to create a lasting and meaningful impact on the world. While the beasts represent the rise and fall of earthly kingdoms, the kingdom of God represents the ultimate fulfillment of purpose, justice, and peace. In business terms, this prophecy calls leaders to consider the legacy they will leave behind, focusing on the values of integrity, stewardship, and lasting contributions to society. Daniel 7 culminates in the appearance of a divine figure, the Son of Man, who is given authority, glory, and an everlasting kingdom. This kingdom will never be destroyed, and its dominion will endure forever. In this vision, Daniel is shown that while human empires rise and fall, God's kingdom is eternal, transcending all earthly powers. The key message here is that earthly kingdoms, no matter how powerful or influential they may seem, are temporary. They will eventually fall, but the legacy of righteousness and justice that God's kingdom represents is everlasting. The kingdom of God, a call for eternal impact. This vision is more than just a glimpse of the future. It is a profound call to action for business leaders and individuals seeking to make a lasting impact in their respective fields. The idea of the eternal kingdom reminds us that there is more to life than fleeting success or short-term profits. True success, according to this prophecy, lies in creating a legacy that stands the test of time, a legacy built on principles that outlast market trends, economic cycles, and political shifts. 1. The importance of building a lasting legacy. Just as the eternal kingdom of God is impervious to decay, business leaders must focus on creating something that will endure. This means shifting from a mindset of short-term profit maximization to one of long-term value creation. A business that prioritizes integrity, sustainability, and social responsibility will outlast those that chase after transient trends or engage in unethical practices for the sake of quick gains. In practical terms, this could mean focusing on building a business culture that promotes honesty, fairness, and service to others. For example, many companies are adopting sustainable business practices, investing in renewable energy, or creating products that contribute to social good. This is not only a way to attract consumers who are conscious of ethical issues, but it also ensures that the business remains relevant and impactful in the long run. Companies that seek to make a positive difference in the world create a legacy that transcends financial profit. 2. Ethical leadership and stewardship. At the core of the kingdom of God is a vision of justice, fairness, and stewardship. These values must be central to the way business leaders operate in the modern world. Leaders who act with ethical principles, who prioritize the well-being of their employees, customers, and the communities they serve, will build trust and loyalty, key ingredients for long-term success. Stewardship refers to the careful management of resources, not just for personal gain, but for the benefit of society as a whole. In the same way that the kingdom of God is a realm of peace and righteousness, business leaders are called to steward their companies in a way that benefits the greater good. This is reflected in corporate social responsibility initiatives, ethical supply chains, and practices that minimize harm to the environment. Just as the kingdom of God is a place where justice and righteousness prevail, business leaders must ensure that their actions are just, fair, and responsible. 3. Establishing principles that endure. A key takeaway from the vision of the Kingdom of God is the importance of establishing principles that endure beyond personal ambition or company success. The kingdom is not about individual power or control. It is about serving others and contributing to the common good. Business leaders must adopt a similar mindset, focusing not just on the bottom line, but on how their work can positively impact the lives of others. Leaders who build their businesses around the principles of service, respect, and humility create cultures where people feel valued and motivated to contribute their best efforts. This results in higher employee satisfaction, stronger customer loyalty, and an enduring business model that benefits everyone. The Kingdom of God, with its eternal dominion, provides a blueprint for leaders who aspire to leave a meaningful legacy. One that transcends the transient nature of earthly success, integrating faith into business leadership, while the Kingdom of God represents the ultimate fulfillment of divine purpose. It also offers valuable insights for integrating faith into business leadership. Many successful leaders, both historically and in modern times, have found strength in their faith and used it as a guiding force in their decisions. The principles of honesty, integrity, and stewardship align closely with biblical teachings, and they can serve as a foundation for business leadership. For example, faith-based leadership often focuses on servant leadership, a concept where the leader's role is to serve others rather than to be served. Jesus, often referred to as the ultimate servant leader, demonstrated humility, sacrifice, and a deep commitment to others' well-being. In business, this translates into leaders who prioritize their employees' growth and development, who listen to their concerns, and who lead by example. Servant leadership builds a culture of trust, collaboration, and mutual respect, all of which are essential for long-term business success. 1. The role of faith in overcoming challenges. Another critical lesson from the vision of the Kingdom of God is how faith can help business leaders navigate challenging times. Just as the Kingdom of God will ultimately triumph over all earthly powers, leaders with faith can overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. The belief that there is a higher purpose and that one's work is part of a divine plan can provide the resilience and determination needed to persevere through difficult times. Whether facing economic downturns, industry disruptions, or personal setbacks, business leaders who hold fast to their faith are often better equipped to maintain their composure and make decisions based on long-term vision rather than short-term fear or uncertainty. Faith provides hope, strength, and a sense of purpose that can guide leaders through the darkest moments. 2. Building strong foundations for the future. The Kingdom of God is built on strong foundations, righteousness, peace, and justice. Likewise, business leaders must focus on building strong foundations for their companies. This means establishing clear values, a mission-driven culture, and a commitment to long-term growth. It also means preparing for the future by investing in people, processes, and technologies that will help the business thrive in an ever-evolving landscape. In practical terms, this can involve developing leadership pipelines, investing in employee training, and creating a strategic vision that anticipates future market trends. Just as the Kingdom of God will endure forever, businesses that establish strong values and principles today will continue to thrive for generations to come, creating a lasting legacy through innovation and adaptation. While the Kingdom of God represents an unshakable legacy, business leaders must also recognize the importance of innovation and adaptation. The world is constantly changing, and businesses that fail to adapt risk becoming irrelevant. The key is to build a legacy not just by maintaining traditional values, but by finding innovative ways to solve new problems and meet emerging needs. Innovation, when guided by strong ethical principles and a focus on service to others, can create a lasting impact. Businesses that innovate with integrity, seek to solve real-world problems, and focus on sustainable practices will build a legacy that stands the test of time. These businesses will be remembered not just for their profits, but for the positive contributions they made to society. The call for action, living with purpose and integrity. The final vision in Daniel 7 reminds us that there is more to life than short-term success or fleeting achievements. True greatness is found in the eternal kingdom of God, where peace, justice, and righteousness prevail. In the same way, business leaders are called to live with purpose, guided by principles that endure beyond personal gain. As you reflect on the lessons of the four beasts and the everlasting kingdom of God, ask yourself, what legacy do I want to leave behind? How can I lead with integrity, make a positive impact on the world, and create a lasting contribution to society? The kingdom of God is a call for each of us to live in alignment with higher principles, whether in business, leadership, or personal life. By embracing these values, you too can establish a legacy that endures, making a difference for generations to come. As we reach the conclusion of this exploration into the hidden prophecies of the Bible, it's important to reflect on the profound lessons we've learned throughout the journey. The visions presented in the book of Daniel, spanning the rise and fall of earthly empires, the establishment of God's everlasting kingdom, and the moral imperatives these prophecies present, are not just historical accounts of ancient times. They offer timeless wisdom for anyone seeking to lead a purposeful life. Especially in the realm of business, the prophecies we've uncovered in Daniel's vision are more than mere predictions. They're guiding principles that have the power to shape our lives, our decisions, and our businesses in ways that transcend temporal success. They teach us about the dangers of pride, the importance of humility, and the eternal significance of doing what is just and righteous. But perhaps the most compelling lesson we can draw from these prophecies is the importance of legacy. Just as earthly kingdoms come and go, businesses rise and fall, and personal achievements fade over time, the ultimate goal in life and work should be to build something that will last beyond ourselves. The kingdom of God, with its everlasting reign, serves as the perfect example of the legacy we should aim to create, one that is rooted in justice, peace, and wisdom. The impact of legacy in business. In the modern business world, where trends and technologies evolve at a rapid pace, it can be easy to get caught up in the pursuit of immediate profits and short-term success. However, the lessons of the Bible, particularly the prophecies found in the book of Daniel, remind us that true greatness is not measured by temporary achievements but by the lasting impact we leave behind. The question we must all ask ourselves is, what kind of legacy am I building today? Will my work have a lasting, positive impact on others, or will it fade into obscurity like the empires of the past? To create a meaningful and lasting legacy in business, leaders must focus on more than just financial success. They must focus on creating value, not only for their shareholders, but also for their employees, customers, and communities. In the eyes of God, success is not defined by wealth alone. It is defined by how we treat others, how we uphold justice, and how we use our resources to serve the greater good. One of the most powerful ways business leaders can create a lasting legacy is through ethical leadership. Just as the kingdom of God is built on principles of justice and righteousness, a business founded on these values will endure long after the founder has gone. Ethical leadership involves making decisions that are morally right, even when it is difficult or unpopular. It involves putting the needs of others before one's own desires, and using the power and influence of the business for the common good. This is a mindset that transcends profit margins and market share. It is about making choices that will benefit future generations, whether that means protecting the environment, promoting fair labor practices, or ensuring that your products and services contribute positively to society. In essence, ethical leadership is about creating something that will last, a legacy that will continue to positively impact the world long after the current business cycle has passed. The power of patience and faith. Another lesson from the prophecies of the Bible is the importance of patience and faith. Just as the kingdom of God is a long-term vision, one that may take generations to fully manifest, business leaders must learn to have patience with their own journeys. Success does not come overnight, and the road to achieving lasting impact is often long and filled with challenges. In times of difficulty, business leaders must rely on their faith that the principles of justice, humility, and integrity will lead them to success in the end. Faith is the belief that doing the right thing, even when it is hard or unpopular, will ultimately pay off. It is the belief that, no matter how many setbacks occur, the long-term vision will prevail. In business, just as in life, we must trust that our efforts to build something meaningful will eventually lead to success, even if it takes longer than expected. The Bible reminds us that God works in mysterious ways, and sometimes we may not understand why things happen as they do. But through faith and perseverance, we can trust that the results will be worth it. As business leaders, this means that we must embrace the trials and challenges we face, knowing that they are part of the process of building something of value. Like the prophets of old, who had to wait years, even decades, for their prophecies to come to fruition, we too must be patient and trust in the greater purpose of our work. The role of wisdom in leadership. Throughout this journey, we've seen how the prophecies in the book of Daniel call us to seek wisdom in our leadership. The kingdom of God is characterized by divine wisdom, and it is through wisdom that earthly kingdoms are established and sustained. This wisdom is not just practical knowledge, it is the kind of wisdom that comes from understanding the deeper principles of life and leadership, the principles that are outlined in the Bible. Wisdom in business is about more than knowing the best strategies or having the sharpest market insights. It is about understanding how to use your influence and resources to help others, make ethical decisions, and lead with integrity. It is about creating a business that is not only successful but also just and fair. Wisdom is also about knowing when to act and when to wait, understanding the long-term consequences of decisions, and having the courage to make difficult choices for the greater good. The wisdom that is required of business leaders is rooted in the understanding that they are stewards of the resources entrusted to them. They are not owners in the sense that they can do whatever they want with their businesses. Rather, they are caretakers of the resources, talents, and opportunities given to them, and they must use them wisely and responsibly. This is a key principle that underpins both the prophecies of Daniel and the moral teachings of the Bible. A call to action. As we conclude this journey through the hidden prophecies of the Bible, the final message is clear. The time to take action is now. The prophecies contained in the Bible are not simply ancient writings. They are timeless principles that speak directly to the challenges and opportunities we face today. Whether in business or in life, these principles can guide us to make better decisions, lead with integrity, and leave a lasting legacy that impacts the world for the better. The kingdom of God offers a vision of what is possible when we live by the principles of justice, righteousness, and wisdom. As we work to create businesses that honor these values, we are participating in something much greater than ourselves. We are building a legacy that transcends time, one that will outlive us and continue to impact future generations. So, I challenge you to reflect on your own life and work. How can you apply these timeless principles to your own business? How can you create a legacy that will endure, just as the kingdom of God endures? The journey to building something meaningful begins with one step, and that step starts with the decision to live according to higher principles. The prophecies of the Bible offer us a roadmap for navigating the complexities of life and business. By embracing these prophecies and integrating their wisdom into our daily lives, we can create businesses and lives that truly matter. It's not just about success in the short term, it's about building something that will last for generations to come.